What's up, what's up, what's up? I'm one of your hosts, Something Foreign, Lukey Forbes, aka Red Hood.
I'm your other host, Stephen Negron, Power to the People.
So, thank you for coming to the Silent Majority. This is a show where we're going to keep you up to date as to what's going on in current events in the world, as well as what's going on in this current town of Albany and things like that.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us and joining us here. As a matter of fact, we want to include some of our social media followers and get some of the people in Facebook tuned in. I want to thank y'all very much. So I'm about to share this link on my Facebook page. Luke is going to do the same on his. And you tell them your name.
I want y'all to just like it. I want y'all to share it. I want y'all to make sure y'all comment. Make sure y'all be as interactive as with us as possible. We want to answer your questions in real time. You guys are on the show with us. Thank you for tuning in. We're just going to proceed into the show. So we're going to start off with the VP debates. Steven, you want to start us off with that?
So I watched the VP debate last night. Was just looking for the link to plug y'all in. So I have a little bit of mixed reactions with it. Obviously, I think Kamala Harris did a good job. I do think that she could have done a better job.
When you fact check both of them, it's like it was a lot going on in there, man.
Vice versa, I think that the one thing that concerns me is I think that the president's base might be galvanized a little bit.
Yes, it is.
I want to show a clip that kind of highlights that. I think that the right would look at this and look at it as a moment where Mike Pence was incredibly strong, where I looked at it as a great opportunity for Kamala Harris to point out hypocrisy in the Republican Party. So with that said, I'm going to lead y'all into this video, which talks about them and accusing Kamala Harris and Biden of packing the court.
About the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864...
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
No, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Okay. In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln. Mm-hmm. Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was 27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now. And it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
People, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once again gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
I'm trying to answer you now.
The American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court if they somehow win this election. Men and women, I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about the fact. Yeah, I'm about to. So The Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
So I felt as though she started on where I thought she was going, and I had great excitement.
Yeah.
Because the thing that I wanted her to say to Mike Pence, it was point out the hypocrisy and point out the fact that Donald Trump and Mike Pence's party blocked Barack Obama's Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland.
Multiple, like he
was blocked for nearly an entire year.
And this is something that we can't ignore, especially like when it's happening right in front of us. Like he said these things like during the debate, and
he's
hit him up about it.
He's accusing her of what they are guilty of doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something. It's kind of the MO of the GOP, if you would. And another part of the debate that honestly just got me incredibly frustrated, I know it got you frustrated, was Pence's response
to Breonna Taylor.
Yes.
It was just like, you can just hear how he just completely started to divert. And this is what's called a red herring. And it's like, that means when you state a factual statement, to defer against the actual content of what the subject is. So what you see here in this video that Steve is about to play is exactly that, where he just completely diverts and completely just tries to turn off topic and just talk about something else and just straight try to, if you want to really explain more
we'll go into a little bit more detail after the video, and then we'll move on. But we're gonna play this video and show his response to this question.
Joe and I will immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and we will decriminalize marijuana, and we will expunge the records of those who have been convicted of marijuana. This is a time for leadership on a tragic issue of unarmed black people in America who have been killed.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question to you. In the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of any innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies. But I trust our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But you're entitled to your opinion, Senator.
So then they treat him differently.
With regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. Justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed.
right, here we go. We're going back.
So honestly, when I didn't intend on Kamala Harris's response being there, but at the same time I appreciate it being there, only because now you can see the contrast between the two candidates and their responses to that very important and relevant question. We saw a little bit of how Pence spent a few seconds in saying that he believes in the justice system. So he basically believes justice was served.
He believes
if that's
that,
the case.
that conviction was noteworthy. Like that was something that they should
Lack
have
of
done.
conviction. Lack
Like,
of conviction.
And it's the fact like where he just threw it on to protesters. Like right
Yes.
after that, it's like
And
how
that
can
was-
you do that?
And that was the thing, because he spent a few seconds talking about Breonna and her case.
Mm-hmm.
And then spent how much time on rioters, looters, protesters.
And again, that's
when the
only
majority
3%. 3% of
Words
protests.
right out of my mouth.
3% of protests end up in riots or any type of vandalism or anything like that. And 97% of the protests are peaceful.
And then you
they
have to
end well.
subtract the ones that are instigated by outsiders.
You gotta.
You have
gotta-
to subtract
gotta
the
add
ones that are, acts of violence are committed by the right wing,
Mm-hmm.
which goes back to, probably even predates. I mean, the one I think about is Charlottesville, Kenosha.
And then you also have to think about the ones that were even made up by the alt-right writers. Because even like look at us when we went to the Grace Baptist Church. You had fake news going out about that as if we were protesting a church when it was actually we were protesting that one specific church because they were giving out AR-15s within an already gun-ridden area.
Not one right-wing article really detailed the reason as to why we were there.
And none of them even had our side or anything like that until BuzzFeed actually came out and wrote a true story. Funny thing, our president actually said that BuzzFeed is giving out fake news. Well, when me personally, like something that I went through, I seen BuzzFeed give out the actual news, what really happened. So, like, just to be on that other contrast, when I was actually the victim of Fox giving out false news and BuzzFeed actually playing the real article, and then Fox not even redacting their statement. But then let's not gear off as to what we were saying. Pence and the way that he was just geared on protesters and not even paying attention to the question. And it's like you can see that contrast where Kamala actually answered the cries of the people, and Pence more went towards the crowds of the police. And you see that directly in what they're saying.
I bring it to an old adage, right? An old saying. People like us know this, right? And some people who are watching probably heard of this. Real recognizes real.
All the time.
Right? So I can tell when someone has complete lack of empathy, care, sympathy. Like, these things translate, right? So when you sit there and you say, oh, my heart breaks for the family, but I believe in our justice system. A justice system which has historically, right, through statistics, through documentation, it has historically
right there. Like, it's just so right
misrepresented us. It has not serviced us. It has overcharged, over-sentenced us. It has killed us when we were innocent. It has arrested us when we have committed no crime. This is the justice system that he is speaking of.
When you see Breonna Taylor's case, the amount of hypocrisy done, the amount of evidence that were manipulated by police, that were taken out of evidence by police, and then just the whole overall handling of that case, it's just like that case right there was just a spit in America's face. And there are so many cases.
All the cases.
There are so many cases like that across America that don't even get publicized. We know about the ones that were publicized. We know about the ones that people brought to the forefront. But there are some that aren't brought up. There are some that aren't really talked about. And you see this happen all the time where people's amendments are violated, where they're violated within the court of law. And this is the justice system that he's standing up for, that he stands by, that he is going to continue to uphold, that they have been upholding. Remember, this whole time we have been going through the same thing. It has been no actual change, no real change. America is still the capital for mass incarceration. Mass incarceration still leads us. Like, that is what our whole government is based off.
That's the
Prison.
justice system that he believes in, that he has faith in. So he thinks that it's working and it's doing its job effectively. That's what I pick up from it.
There is no changing there.
No, his whole response honestly irked me, got me frustrated. It's tells me everything that I need to know about his viewpoint and where he sees us, right?
Yeah.
Because he's obviously categorizing all protesters
As rioters.
people that are asking for humane treatment and equal rights. He is looking at us as rioters, looters, when the evidence doesn't support that.
And this is something that is going on across the world.
Yes.
Across the world, you have people going through an uproar of the way that their government systems are oppressing their liberal rights. Everyone that is born on the planet Earth has a right to be free within our world. We all have that basic human right that cannot continue to be denied. And he, along other forms of government, they oppress people's rights. And when you're seeing things like this, again, history repeats itself. People, birds of a feather, flock together. This is a reason why
History is doomed to repeat itself for
like,
those who do not learn it.
Exactly. Like, I keep saying this all the time. It may sound funny, but we are under attack by Hydra. And that is what you're seeing within our governmental systems right now. Like, it's just like...
before we get too fired up, because, some of this we're going to revisit. Before we get too fired up, right? Because that's a very heavy thing, and it got my spirit off a little bit. So I want to talk and bring up something that I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I was very happy to see. So my boy Lukey over here is working on a little short film.
Yeah.
And he has a very, very lit, exciting trailer. I'm
Nah,
gonna let
this
you
is
talk
actually-
about it. This is your work.
So
Go
this
ahead.
one right here is actually the short itself. We're going to be putting out a lot more shorts, so just stay tuned. This one right here is Atrenum, and this is a really, really good short. I just want you to see the ending. Just stay tuned, pay attention.
Definitely.
Temporal jump successful. Lone Pine Mall, Hill Valley, California. Earth, 2029.
No one's been on this part of Earth in years. Why here?
Unknown. You are the only life form within 500 square miles at this point. The anomaly currently reads as a level 1 on the Metellus Ficket scale.
If no one is here, what's causing this anomaly?
A life form has just been detected.
They must have just teleported in. Show me. Gian, what the hell is going on?
The anomaly is lapsing and nearing a critical point on the Metellus Ficket scale.
Alright, let's heavy this up. Drop it!
Anomaly source confirmed. Target volatile. Proceed with caution.
I said drop it! Gian, track him. Where are you going?
I will deter his escape.
This little robot's gonna be the death of me. Gian, what the hell am I looking at?
Our parameters require redisposals of any temporal anomalies to prevent another collapse. We have completed those parameters.
What the hell am I looking at?
Our parameters require redisposal of any temporal anomalies to prevent another collapse. We have completed those parameters.
What the hell is going on? This doesn't make any sense.
Say drop it. Here we go. Turn the mic back on.
Okay, guys. So I hope that you guys just enjoyed that short. It was just amazing working with everyone on that. Stay tuned, like I said, for more shorts. We're going to be putting out a lot more. We're taking over every industry. You're going to see us as we just start trickling around. You're just going to see us pop up in every industry just every now and then. So just make sure that you just stay tuned for that.
A lot of work to do.
We're going to go into the next topic. We're going to start talking about the public safety committee that's going to be going on November 2nd. So that one is going to be I think it's November 2nd. Just make sure
for election day.
Yeah, make sure that you actually tune into my Facebook and keep up to the dates on that. That one is going to be talking about the laws that I've been speaking on regarding the police review board, as well as the police review board, as well as also making it illegal for officers to walk around without a body camera. So we're going to make sure that they have to walk around with a body camera on, but make sure that you tune into this, because there are amendments that need to be made to this. We want to make sure that those amendments are made. One of the amendments to the police review board that is made is going to be so that the police officers, one of the amendments to the police review board is going to be to the point that they have to be transparent with the community. Right now, the way that is written in, as if they have discretion on what they release to the public, we don't want any discretion there. We want to make sure that they release all information to the public. Another thing that needs to be changed with their law on the police review board is that they also make sure that they allow it to the police review board to have no limitation on when they can subpoena things. The amount of restrictions that's placed on the police review board currently to use their subpoena power, it's kind of like they kind of can't really use that subpoena power currently. So we want to definitely make sure that they take those restrictions off of the police review board to use their subpoena power, make sure that they're releasing all that information to the public. And then also we want to make sure within the law to make sure that they have all the police officers wear body cameras. It's all law enforcement agencies that will be dealing with individuals need to make sure that they wear body cameras. As well, that they have to have a written slip of permission for them to take off that body camera or turn it off. And they have to give it to the person after they're dealing with the incident, just like they would do a warrant to search a property or a premises. And that is so necessary because you see how officers tend to abuse their powers and their different privileges when they do get restrictions placed on them. But
the importance of that, and I'm sorry to interrupt
of course.
But the importance of that is the one thing, I would say probably one of the most commonly worded or used words that we have used since we started getting involved in this movement, and that's accountability.
Yes.
Right? Everything from the body cams, from there to being subpoena power, and from them not being able to shield information from us. Mm-hmm. All those things tie into accountability.
Even
because whatever y'all do needs to be done in the light. Like whenever y'all have things that are done in the shadows, backdoor deals, and things that you keep from us,
So what you're seeing,
it leaves a bad taste in our mouth.
What you're seeing right now is literally they're even still combating against Article 50A repeal. Because we've requested information.
They don't want to get foiled.
They're not trying to allow that information to be foiled, and they're trying to restrict some information to be foiled. You see this in cases like what's going on in Schenectady with Officer Palmer. They're trying to still keep some of his disciplinary actions under wraps, and the PBA is out there actually suing for that. They're suing the city so that they can keep an officer's disciplinary action sealed. They are suing the city. They are taking that time.
And to touch on something really, really quick, for those of you that might be viewing that's not familiar with the term FOIL, it means Freedom of Information Law. Mm-hmm. It's basically something that allows you to research and pull up history, say like police officers' disciplinary actions, right? So those are things that have traditionally, or up till most recently, been kept from us. We didn't have any rights to that information. Recently,
and I'm gonna explain why. Because again, how I said, Article 50A, was there to make sure that officers can keep their disciplinary actions handled within house, and they did not have to release any of that information to the public. However, the outcries for many years have allowed that article to be repealed. Unfortunately, we're still getting this combatant behavior from the police departments, and really the unions. The unions are using their money, their weight, and their power and their political gain, because make sure that you understand that the police unions invest into a lot of political campaigns around the area. They have been doing this notoriously across the states, so they have a lot of that political power. They are a political force themselves. But what you're seeing is them argue within the courthouse. I know in Albany courts, while people are trying to foil officers, the Albany courts have actually affirmed that officers do not have to release their names within the foils. And as Stephen said, a FOIL is Freedom of Information law. So for those who are just now tuning in, make sure that you do comment, like, and share this video so that we can keep people tuning in, keep people engaged. But FOIL, they're not allowing us to FOIL the police officers' names. So they don't want the names to be released. What you're seeing now is officers walk around with a thick mask, and they're using COVID as an excuse to become more secluded. They're
hiding badge numbers.
They're hiding badge numbers.
Their names.
They're hiding their names. They're hiding their identities completely. So eventually we'll be getting towards, like, for those of you who do not know, we might show it up here like a quick preview of it next week. Watchmen, the TV show. I really want encourage everyone to watch Watchmen, the TV show. It's on HBO. It is definitely a good TV show to watch, and it shows you what they're trying to lead us towards if you really want to get in down those rabbit holes. But just to move on to our next topics, we're also going to be talking,
paint a spotlight on
what is going on right now with this audit that the Albany County Commissioner of Audit have done.
They're claiming that they sent out information to tenants that have never received it.
They're
correct?
saying that they sent out surveys to the Albany Housing Authority. They're a bunch of the tenants within the Albany Housing, and these tenants we've been going around asking the tenants. They have not received any of these surveys. Also, when you look on the Facebook pages that they do share it on, because again, they have a numerous amount of Facebooks that they share things, bits and pieces here, so that you can't really tie down what information is out there.
Basically, they're breaking up the information, putting it here and there, right? Mm-hmm. Pieces of a puzzle, making it more difficult for the person who's saying interested or needing this information to actually get all of the information that they need.
All these things are done online. So, like, unless you have internet access, unless you know that it's going on, you're not able to tune in. They created a new page for the commissioner of the director of audit, Dorsey, and she just shared this on her new Facebook page. Now, you can see that they do show the email address as to where you can send the surveys, but they don't list the survey. And they don't have any real, like, as I'm looking for the survey, I can't find the survey anywhere. And then they said that they sent it out to the housing authority, and when we're asking the tenants, no one's heard of the survey.
Those are discouraging tactics. Like, they're discouraging tactics, and they're intentionally making it difficult so that the person who's saying, like, I'm really interested in needing this service or needing this information doesn't follow through.
So
because if they get to a point where they're like, why am I really trying to do this? I'm spending so much time going to A, B, and C, and I still don't have everything I need.
So as we've been going around trying to ask people if they've heard anything about the survey, please, if you hear anything about the survey, make sure that you contact either me, Steven, or directly towards the show. If you heard something about the survey and you're watching right now, please comment, let us know. If you know anyone that's heard anything about the survey, tell them to contact us, because we definitely want to make sure that we get the information as well and make sure that this is actually going on. So we're going to move on to our next topic.
So
I'm sorry. We're gonna actually play this commercial for you guys. I hope that you guys enjoy this. We're gonna continue to just go over our schedule and keep you guys posted on the next things that we're going to be doing. So go ahead and watch this commercial.
community from the coronavirus by wearing a face covering.
And even with my face covered, you will see me making music.
And bringing light to all, no matter the time.
Join me in wearing a face covering
to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because covering your face is one small act of kindness
that has the power to bring us together.
This is what's going to change.
No.
So, I apologize for that. Must have been some technical difficulties. You guys can hear us now. So
yeah, so we're practicing. Sorry, we had some audio issues, but we're gonna plug it in. We're gonna backtrack a little bit,
because
right? We're gonna start from the top because you just heard our mouths moving. So we're we're discussing as to why racism is a public health crisis and all of the different ways it affects us. We can't really get into everything, but this right here, hold that up, Lukey.
So again, as I was saying, when you just was seeing our mouths move, shout out to all the lip readers out there. I know you was paying attention the whole time. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys again. This right here is a bill that I wrote up. It's called the Promised Land Reform Bill. Make sure that you stay tuned for this bill. I'm going to be sending it to every single last legislator out here. I'm going to send it to all the congressmen, and we're going to also make this a petition. I'm going to want you guys to make sure that you pay attention for when it hits your email, your DM, or anything like that, or you see it flowing around. Make sure you sign it. Make sure you read it. Make sure you learn it, because this is going to change the capital region. It's going to change Albany. Once we change Albany, we know we can change New York, and everybody loves New York because we're so trendy. It's going to change the world. Everybody put y'all fist up.
We definitely have to combat racism being a public health issue, only because of all of the different ways that it really affects us, right?
Yeah.
So like black women are 4 times as likely to die off of childbirth than their white counterparts. And America already has the #1 child mortality rate. So like we already are #1 in the world for like letting children die in this country.
Albany
keep that in mind.
The infancy death rate within Albany is so outrageous, and even the Child Opportunity Index has labeled Albany the worst place to raise a black child. Like, and then that right there, that one statement right there just rings so much like in your brain. And then to hear that white children are 82% more likely to actually receive opportunities within Albany, like this is just completely crazy. So when we're looking at what racism affects within the capital region, it affects the criminal justice system, it affects the education system, it affects the health, housing, transportation, budgets, taxes, economic development. It affects the social services system, and it also affects the healthy nutrition access.
Literally too many topics for us to dive into all of them, right? And they're all so important. But I mean, we talked about redlining last week, And you know,
can we just also
we got a whole definition.
We got a whole definition of what redlining is. So I want you to also just make sure that you embed what redlining is and what is affecting it, what is causing redlining within our communities. Because in order for us to solve things, we have to actually identify what it is. So this is the definition of redlining. I want you guys to just nail that into your head. Redlining is discriminatory practice that puts services, financial and otherwise, out of reach for residents of certain areas based on race, ethnicity, notability, the public policy. Redlining is felt by most residents of minority neighborhoods.
Basically,
so
the banks cut off. The banks cut off our money. Banks cut off our money. They give us loans that have unfair interest rates and discriminatory practices. So at the end of the day, it's giving us the short end of the straw, which is what has always been done historically in this country. I mean, even with police brutality. Now, police brutality doesn't only affect people of color.
Police brutality affects everyone within redlined areas, within areas of poverty. So police brutality is literally a tactic of oppression upon a group of people within a designated area. And we see this happening all the time. And if you step outside of that designated area and you're from that certain designated area, you're still likely to be fell victim of police brutality.
And, you know, it's funny because I find myself falling within the statistic. I actually spoke on it at the mental health event that we had thrown last week, where I said that, you know, I found myself falling into a statistic that it lines up with the educational racism bias. And what the statistics show is that typically young boys of color, black and brown boys, are academically gifted at early ages.
Yes.
They excel in academia up until about 4th grade. And then they start to fall behind. And there's a number of different reasons for that. But some of it is even discrimination in the school. Because even in the school is more likely to deal out harsh punishment toward black and brown boys for offensive than they are white boys for the same offenses. So there are a number of things that go into that. But we are discriminated on in school.
And we see this happening all the time. Also, I want to also point out to you to just make sure that you look at the 21 proposal for Albany County's budget. Just for Albany City's budget, it's crazy. They're trying to give about over $60 million to police departments, and then they're still bleeding other departments dry. I just want you guys to look at that. That is something that we'll also be talking about next week.
We can no longer accept them defunding our schools and education while inflating the police budget.
No,
at the end of the day, the police is a response system. It doesn't stop crime. It doesn't prevent any crime. They respond to it.
What creates crime is the fact that Albany is the most corrupt place when it comes to raising black children, because they see the problem and they ignore it. For the fact that the black child is denied opportunity within the county of Albany, they fail this community. They are the cause of crime, because it is studies shown that more education, more opportunities, it will reduce the crime rate. It will increase employment opportunities within our city. Once the employment opportunities go up, that's also the equity of our city will go up. I think we'll have more homeowners. The more homeowners that we have, the more tax money that we have. And then just to bring up the amount of tax money that Albany has, 60% of the properties are owned by state and city entities that are exempt from taxes. So that means they don't pay taxes. Our schools get defunded by 250 teachers. Like we had to cut off 250 teachers because 60% of the properties that are owned in our city are owned by these tax exempt entities, and that is crazy.
In the same year that they make those cuts and they tell us that it's COVID related and that they don't have the money and that they have to do these necessary cuts, in the same fiscal year they are talking about inflating police budgets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't understand.
Also, there are studies that have shown that Albany actually has more cops than necessary. So the fact that they keep coming up here and saying that they need more cops, they are lying, because there are studies showed that we have enough police per person of the city, just the amount of police that we need for the population rate that we have.
You know, when I hear things that they say that they need more cops, I hear different words. When I hear government officials say we need more cops, I hear we need more inmates.
Yep.
We need more prisoners.
Yep.
Because every study shows that when you increase police presence, all you do is really increase inmate presence, because they begin to nitpick on stupid crimes.
But
like, think of this fact. America is supposedly the land of the free. Yet we have more laws on the books to lock up citizens for non-violent offenses than anywhere else on earth.
When you look at our criminal justice system, it is set up to literally just target a group of people, and if it's been used that way, we know about the Jim Crow laws. We know about laws that were set up to incriminate like Native Americans when they were freed. And
it's the continuation of slavery.
It's just the continuation of using laws to target groups of people, and we've been seeing this go across our country for years on years. And this is something that we can't continue to ignore and pretend as if it's not here. Again, I just want you guys to pay attention. This right here is called the Promised Land Reform Bill. You will see this going around. Just to mention a few of the things that we have in here, we're going to be demanding that they reallocate the funds from civil forfeiture from the police department and the county sheriffs to workforce development, as well as substance abuse problems, because that is necessary, that funds are allocated for the same thing that they're supposed to be combating, instead of going into the police union or any used for any other fund other than that. Because we want to make sure that we can increase the workforce development within our city, and then start to develop our city's equity and really make that equity shareable. Because this racial equity divide within our community is just like, it's outrageous. We can't continue to ignore it.
I'm sorry. You want to get rid of the incentive to look for reasons to seize people's property.
Yes.
Because
me and you remember when we were walking, we were on Quell, and this kid, he was driving. He did have a suspended license. However, he was the owner of the vehicle. And when the police officers took him out, they illegally cuffed him, and he just allowed them to cuff him.
And they searched the vehicle.
They searched the vehicle.
Now, and granted, they asked his permission, and he
did say yes.
He complied.
He was compliant the whole time. Once he said, "Okay, let me call for a licensed driver to come," they immediately called for a tow truck
Got you.
to come. They called for a tow truck to come and get the vehicle. So immediately they did that, and they just did not.
We argued with them for
because it's his Fourth Amendment.
Time.
That was an illegal seizure of the property. And
well,
he is the owner of the property, and his mother was the registered owner of the property. And she called, while he called his mother, and she said on the phone that she's on her way to come and get the car. So she was on her way, literally as the tow truck was driving away, she was pulling up. And they didn't stop, they didn't care, they were just taking the car.
The thing that upset me about that particular situation is that I understand to a degree. So the police were saying that they would be held liable if they let someone other than what was a registered owner to get the car. The thing that I had a problem with was the fact that they had 12, 16 police officers out there.
Oh my God. Yo, they sent many cops.
Once we got word that Mom was on the way, if you would have just said, okay, we're going to send these people off to, actually patrol the city and, do the job, make sure that people are safe out there. We'll keep maybe 2-3 cops here to make sure that you're all right until Mom gets here, and then she can take the car. I felt like it was unnecessary for them to be so urgent and eager to call that tow truck and get his car towed.
No, they wanted to tow his car because it was a BMW and he was a black man. And that's exactly what
And
they
let's
did.
keep it a stack. He was pulled over because he was listening to loud music
and
he had his head kind of like tilted out the window.
Driving a BMW.
So he was
a black man. They
so
had
he
no
looked a
reason to
certain
pull
way.
him over.
Yeah, he wasn't speeding.
He wasn't speeding.
We were literally
Wasn't
walking
doing
and kind of like saw this whole thing unfold. We got videos. Maybe we'll show it to you next week.
Like literally,
we'll actually.
No, we're going to show that
we'll
to you
do
next
that.
week. That's going
we'll
to be
show,
shown.
We'll
show
some videos for you
because
next week.
he was literally minding his business, driving, and the police just pulled him over for no reason. And again, this is no longer that whole "oh yeah, we're just checking for speeders" week. They're not doing that currently. So that's not why they pulled him over. He had a seatbelt on. He was just following the law, and they just pulled him over. He was black, listening to loud music, driving a BMW.
We can literally get into any one of these topics and get into
a whole debate about it.
At least a 7-minute conversation as to why this is nonsense. Why is it still happening in America today? And where do we go from here? What's the solution?
So just to move on, we're going to talk about the next topic.
But I want to say before we do move on, right? Because
what's
the solution?
Oh yeah, this right here.
That's the solution.
This right here.
That's the solution.
Wait until you guys
now
see
we can
this.
move on.
Wait until you guys see this.
Now we can move on. So we're gonna plug in a local artist, right? Is it local artist?
Yeah, we're gonna plug in a local artist. We're gonna plug in a local artist video. So this video is really good. I love the concept of this song. Make sure you guys tune into her. Just follow it out. We're gonna play this video.
It's QB. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. Feel like I'm going crazy. I gotta do right. Feel like I'm going crazy. The negative vibes. Feel like I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. Running out of time. Running out of time. Feel like I'm losing my mind. Feel like I'm losing my mind. No, I'm not giving up. All of these rumors, they come from assumers, and no, I don't give a fuck. I'm shooting my shot and I'm doing it right. Don't trust them to give you up. They claim that they love you and really it's nothing. I cannot make it up. No, I cannot make it up. They can't even show love. They moving different. I hear, I listen. I got a vision, so pay attention. My name they mentioning, they won't never stop. Everybody keep asking me when my shit drop. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. Feel like I'm going crazy. I gotta do right, feel like I'm going crazy. The negative vibes, feel like I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind, running out of time, running out of time. Feel like I'm losing my mind. Feel like I'm losing my mind. Feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm just running out of time. Don't ever stop. Chase your dream. Don't ever stop. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. Feel like I'm going crazy. I gotta do right. Feel like I'm going crazy. The negative vibes. Feel like I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. Running out of time. Running out of time. Feel like I'm losing my mind. Feel like I'm losing my mind.
That was a local artist, bro?
Yeah, man. Albany
That
is
was
full
impressive.
of talent. Albany
Nah,
is
that
full of
was
talent.
impressive.
So make sure you guys send us your videos if you want your videos to be plugged into our show. If you got any shorts, if you got a skit that you want played here, if you got a song that you want played, make sure that you tune in.
We definitely want to promote and advocate for local talent. Anything Albany, Schenectady, Troy, Saratoga. If you're in the Capital District and you're an artist, whether that be musician, poetry,
if
whatever
you got a
it is,
picture,
any way you want to express
anything you want
yourself,
us to do.
hit
If
us
you're
up.
a TikTok,
we'll give you a
if you're a
platform.
TikTok producer, send us your TikTok videos, and we're going to give you that platform. Let's jump here. Come on, we're going to go into the next topic. So the next topic is going to
So I'm gonna hit y'all with a quote of the day, right? Or the quote of the week. Sorry, we didn't get to daily shows yet.
Yeah, that's hint. Breadcrumbs.
So with that said, right? This week's quote is: "Inside of every cynical person lies a disappointed idealist." Now, George. Oh man, all right.
That brings me to. I can say a quote.
Can you guess who said that though?
Who said that?
George Carlin.
Wow.
Now, for those of you that may not be familiar, George Carlin is a stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
from back in the days. He's got some really good,
but the comedians,
cynical material.
The comedians were the ones that always can make fun of what's really going on in the world because people just laugh at it. They
I feel like
take it serious.
I feel like I've learned, I've learned more real topics from some comedians. Than I have our elected officials.
Read that quote again because that brings me to a Batman type quote.
All right. I'll read it again for you. Inside every cynical person, there is a disappointed idealist.
That's just mad deep. What I hear is you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. Yo. That's what I hear right there. Yeah. That's what I hear right there.
That's lit.
Those two
Damn, that was going to be my next week's quote.
Yeah, again, we are superheroes, so you're going to hear a bunch of nerdy stuff. You're going to hear us quote comic books all the time. I may start speaking some Bhutanian next time. You never know. What is that? Creon?
Yeah, I wasn't big on Star Trek.
Klingon.
I wasn't big. See, I know that's a Star Trek reference, but I wasn't big on Star Trek. I know a little bit about Star Wars.
Star Wars, what you know about Star Wars? You know about the Yup-Yups?
Yeah, I know about the Yup-Yups.
People don't be knowing about the Yup-Yups.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going on a serious note.
So it's the tweet of the
This
week.
is the twit of the week, the twittiest of all tweets. This twit right here can't get no twittier than
This is the last heavy topic that we gonna hit because this was gonna piss me right off. Excuse my French.
Oh my god. Just let's get a big X on that. A big no. A big no. Boo. What's wrong with you? We ain't got our sound effects yet, so we'll make it ourselves. Just one more time.
So
Netflix, right? Netflix. These guys right here. They have been charged with producing child pornography. Yes, Netflix has been charged with producing child pornography with the show Cuties. They aired this show out, right? And they actually brought this in front of a grand jury.
Now we are intentionally and purposely not showing a trailer
or even a picture of Cuties because we are not promoting Cuties. You know how people said, yeah, just watch it a little bit, just watch it so that you can see what it's all about. No, do not watch it because if you watch it, if you click into it, you are again promoting child pornography within our communities. We don't need that in our world.
Before this had, I guess in the beginning of it, right? I came across this on social media.
Yep.
Right, and I probably got 4. Maybe not even that Mississippi seconds into it before I said, what the hell is this? And got off of it.
Yeah.
And then dude immediately was just like, I'm not, no. And then I heard about all the outrage and I had read a passage about somebody that had watched a little bit and reading that.
Yeah, it just made your skin
crawl. I felt like I was getting bro, I was upset.
Because it's like,
I was upset.
If you care about children and you care about their well-being and their mindsets, you don't want them to see a show like this. And if you care about children and you care about their well-being, you don't want adults to see anything like this for those sick ones who this may entice and may also make them want to go and do things that are unruly.
The production of this, for me, right, was nothing other than pedophile, like, kitty fonder. Like,
yes.
It was literally just giving them something to enjoy.
Yes.
And it made my skin crawl only because I'm sitting here and I'm like, how is it that we got this on a streaming service?
We know how kids mimic things too. Like,
it
why
also,
is that just up there for kids to watch?
It also made me think of Corey Feldman.
Yes.
And I forget the last name of the other, but they both were named Corey, I believe, right? But it made me think about these 80s child actors, right? That both made claims of being raped and sexually assaulted while they were making movies. And they said that the sickest environment for a child is Hollywood.
Hollywood.
And they said that pedophilia is one of its biggest problematic issues.
But look at what they're doing across the states too.
I feel like the production of that gives it water. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They're saying that pedophilia is a sexual preference. They're making these arguments across the states. And in California, they just actually lower the penalties for anal and also of a child.
My fucking eyes.
A minor. Like, this is going on within our actual state, the United States of America. We're seeing this go on where they're allowing videos like this to be played. Again, this entices children to get the wrong image of what a child is supposed to be doing. We don't want our daughters to do this. And just to let you know, cuties happens in our community too. Because they are not, that right there is not just propaganda. When you're putting your daughter into one of these dance groups, make sure that dance group does not teach them any of these provocative dances. Because if they're doing anything that's similar to that, if they're wearing clothing that's similar to that, they're putting on the amount of makeup that's similar to that. Just the same way that Cuties was banned, just the same way that they have indicted Netflix, so should these dance groups. And I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. When you're at these dance groups and every single last father looks like this, that is a problem. That is a problem. That's when you stop it. Because if every father is like this, no father in the room wants to look at their daughter, that's a problem.
So, I won't speak on what specifically, but you and I were at an event, and we saw some dance competitions happen. And it got to a point where you and I just kind of locked eyes with each other. Just like, I'm not here for this. I'm not here for this. So, me as a father, I have a daughter, right? I have two kids, a boy and a girl. And, you know, obviously, my daughter's 2. I want her to maintain a childlike innocence for as long as she can.
Why would you want her to ruin that? Like,
I don't see why we have to have young girls portraying themselves and acting in a way like, listen, I don't have no quarrel about what a grown woman does with her body,
what she want to do,
how she wants to display herself, or what she views as artistic expression.
They can't be exposed to that.
Let's wait until you're an adult, right? Like let's wait until you are legally able to make decisions about your own self. For as far as what?
Like Cuties.
At 11, it's gonna be fucking scorched earth, hellfire, and brimstone. But I mean, once she becomes an adult, all I can do, the day that she can pay her own bills,
as long as she live in a daddy house,
the day that she's responsible for herself. You know, and well, I put it like this. I will support her in her dreams. And all I can do is hope that the job that I do as a father, that she portrays and carries herself in a way that I can be proudful and respectful or proudful of, and that she respects herself in whatever she does.
And that
but
she brings something that
regardless,
she knows you'll be proud of.
regardless of what she does, short of being a pedophile, I will always support my baby girl, and I will always support my son in whatever they, you know, pursue, whatever their dream is, whatever they want to do that they think will make them happy. I want that for them.
Yeah.
So I'll end off on that. But as far as like twerking at the age of 11, hell no.
Hell no.
Not happening.
Hells to the no.
Not in my house.
Not in here. Not in here. Nope. Get the. We need some holy water. We about to baptize.
This twerking going on, they over the age of fucking 21.
Yes, yes, and they live somewhere else because
God damn it.
they'll be locked in their room forever, not coming outside. I'm not saying that I'm gonna lock her in a room forever because that's just inhumane, things like that. But like for a very, very long time, forever. Yeah.
With that said, you know, to gear back towards cuties and then, you know, move on because we're gonna have to end the show. We got some things we want to plug in. Netflix, something needs to happen. There needs to be a change. In all honesty, some people need to lose their jobs.
At least three. At least a good three.
Y'all have to
need
do something to try to save your face.
One person needs to be charged. One person needs to be charged.
Sell the company to somebody else. Give it to Jay-Z. I'm sure he'll buy it.
Whoever wrote the script and was like, yo, let's cast real little girls.
Let's sell, you know what?
Let's just actually
sell Netflix to Jay-Z. That's what I'm about to push. Just sell it to Jay-Z.
I wouldn't say Jay-Z. I would say, like, let's sell it to, like, somebody like Kanye. I'd rather go to Kanye, truth be told.
No, because Kanye gonna bankrupt it.
No,
sell it to J. Cole. Sell it to Kendrick. Sell it to Jay-Z.
I'll go with Kendrick. I'll go with Master P. Sell it to Master P.
I'm down with that. I'm down with that. I can live with that. Master P.
Sell it to Master P.
Master P would do an excellent job.
Or Ice Cube. Ice Cube would do amazing. Oh my God!
He's got the background. He's got the background.
Shout out to Ice Cube. I don't think people really understand who Ice Cube is. Ice Cube came up in a part of NWA.
Honestly, some of his interviews from the '90s, while he was in NWA, is some of my favorite.
Look at his mind though, because while during NWA, he made his own production company and dropped Friday. Everyone knows what Friday is because it is a classic. He wrote that. He produced that. He put that out there to the world. He got all that yicking himself, and he just kept it
crazy.
Right, and he kept putting his people on, kept making Fridays. They made like 3 of them. He made the Are We There Yet? He's made these movies, right? And he also made his own basketball league. Like, we don't really pay attention that he has his own basketball league. Like, Ice Cube has been lit since lit was lit. And he's a really good business individual.
While you was talking, it literally reminded me, because, you know, we've encountered a lot of different people. Like, we've got a lot of friends from different walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
I got a friend that I need to introduce into Friday.
Who?
And then next Friday. And then Friday after next.
What? So they have not seen Boys in the Hood.
I need to work on it.
Minister Society?
I need to work on it, bro. It's
Juice? Juice?
Bro, you just dropped mad...
Classics?
You just dropped like mad double
classics.
Like, I'm gonna have to hit it in like a week. I don't know.
Nah, you got
in any case.
Classics. Again, just to pop it back up, I just wanted to make sure that we threw this in there one more time. This is the Promised Land Reform Bill. This is going to be on everyone's front doorsteps. Just make sure you pay attention and look out for that.
On some real, this thing is incredibly detailed. And it really lays out.
Yeah. It's like
it lays out a lot of the problems that we face. Racism being a public health crisis. I mean, we plugged it in. We already told y'all this is the answer. This is the solution right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're gonna get this thing out to y'all. We definitely want y'all to read it, and you know what I'm saying, let us know what you think. We're open to input. We can take constructive criticism as long as you deliver it in a loving way. All right, we ain't paying attention to trolls.
Don't yell at me.
We ain't paying attention
to trolls.
Don't
yell at me.
But if you got constructive criticism, we here for it.
Yeah. So I definitely want to make sure that we jump into the educational piece for today. you know, I like to drop some education on you guys, and then we're going to give you guys some events to look out for. So let's go into this education. I'm going to tell you guys about the Emancipation Proclamation. For those of you guys who do not know, this was a proclamation made by Abraham Lincoln during the war, the Civil War, for the country when it was split and divided into two pieces, the Confederacy and the Union. So now, he made this proclamation, right? It's just an announcement. That's just one. It has no actual legal standing. It is just an announcement from the government, right? It's just an announcement. It's just someone saying something. That's like me yelling out, I'm happy. It doesn't really mean anything other than me just being happy.
So to put it into context, it's not an executive order.
No, it is not an executive order. It's not a law. It's not a bill. It's not anything like that. It is just saying, hey guys, we feel this way. So he put out this proclamation banning slavery in only rebel states. Let's throw that up there. I just want to throw this quote up here just so that you guys can see it. This quote right here.
And
I just want you guys to understand that he only banned it in rebel states. It is not banned anywhere else.
Another problem with it.
What people don't understand is that people in the North, the side that was actually fighting on the side of the Union, they want to say for us, but they just mean on the side of the Union. People that was on our side, well, on the side for the Union that was in support of the Union, they did not have to relinquish their slaves. They did not have to even acknowledge it or anything like that. Neither did the opposing party. No one had to acknowledge that they were banning slaves. One. And then the fact that he also didn't write in for any of the people that were allies to ban their slaves, it just shows that this was only a strategy of war. It was something to get the conservatives to kind of just get, like, to throw their supporters off, because, you know, the slaves were the ones that was making their weaponry, that was actually taking care of all the cooking, the cleaning, and things like that. So the soldiers were able to really be more productive in army, in their army.
To add into that, because another problem that happened with the Emancipation Proclamation is the fact that in some of the southern states, slaves didn't hear or know about the Emancipation Proclamation until after Lincoln was dead. Literally 4 years after Emancipation Proclamation was when some of these slaves were getting word from it. And, like, wait, what?
And remember, slaves were able to read around that time. So it's not like they could have read this proclamation themselves. As well, this is around the time where everything was kind of just like kept off. So of course they went and get this information. And then the slaves that did get the information, when they came and fought for the Union, they just ended up doing the same thing for the Union. And again, it was just an announcement. It wasn't a law. It wasn't anything that was really binding. So he just made an announcement to steal some of the slaves to run away to the North and fight on the side of the Union in hopes of being free. So this strategy of war is kind of what was used as a tactic for the Union to end up winning in the overall war.
And let's get it, peel the layer back, right? Lincoln never wanted to free the slaves
at all.
Lincoln never wanted to free the slaves. His stance was literally, he didn't want it to spread anymore to where it already existed. But Lincoln's mindset very much was that slavery was an integral part of the Southern economy.
And
he didn't want it to spread, but he didn't want to end it either, up until the Civil War.
The 13th Amendment wasn't even passed until 2 presidents after Lincoln was assassinated. So when you really look at the facts, you see just a strategy. And they try to make it seem as if he was put on the penny because he freed the slaves, because they say he was the less worthy president. No, he still made, out of all the presidents we had, he still made currency. Just understand that he is someone that they hold in high regard because of that strategy that he used. Again, these people in each state, they have idols that in this war were just straight gruesome, that really cared about no one. In Confederate states, you see how they worship a lot of these Confederate generals and things like that. Even how we still have the Philip Schuyler statue sitting in right there next to City Hall. When you look at the past is riddled with things that they kind of lied to us. I suggest
I'm
people read this book called Lies My Teacher Taught Me, just so that you can kind of get like a fresher on what's going on out here.
And I'm gonna call an audible. All right, I'm gonna call an audible. This was not planned to be in the show, and I'm gonna add to your education piece. I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna add to it. Only because we have a day coming up. Now, I don't like to address it as the day that's written on the calendar.
Mr. Columbus.
I address it as
Didn't I just do him last week?
Indigenous Peoples Day.
I just did him last week.
With that said, like, we literally have a person, right, that we're lied to. That discovered, right?
Every year.
Amerigo Vespucci hit this continent before he did. Leif Erikson hit this continent before he did. So, and those are just the European explorers.
That's just the Europeans.
So, with that said, Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day. We're canceling Columbus Day.
Do not call it Columbus
We're not
Day.
celebrating murderers, rapists, and genocides anymore.
No.
So, we're not
Leave the turkeys alone. Truth be told, everyone stop eating meat, fish, all that. Join the vegetarian or vegan life is better for you.
He's speaking for himself.
I'm telling you, it's better for you. Yo, listen, the things that they put inside of meat, that is bad. And then two, just think about it. When it leaves the butchery, these slaughterhouses, it takes about like 2 weeks for it to even get shipped. And then it's still going to be about like sitting in the supermarket for about like 2 weeks before you buy it. And then you're going to leave it in your fridge or freezer for about another 2 weeks before you eat it. So you're eating about a month dead old body.
It's refrigerated.
But just make sure you know that you're eating death that's dead for about 5 months. And just think about how they're raising these animals. Like, they're raising animals to eat them.
The best you can get out of me is chicken and fish. You might be able to confine me to chicken and fish.
That's so messed up.
I might give up pork and red meat.
Oh man, but those chicken and fish matter. Chicken and fish matter, man.
Fish don't even have memory that lasts more than 10 seconds.
Who says who? You ever asked a fish? You ever asked a fish? When was the last time you
never caught a fish with the same piece of bait that you used?
That's because he was hungry and you was just messing with him. You thought you was gonna be nice this time.
He ain't learned that it's not food from the last time.
Nah, they're trustworthy. Because you're a bad person doesn't mean that fish is wrong.
Listen, we're in a whole foxhole right now.
Yeah, we're gonna go somewhere.
We went off the rails. We went off script.
I wanted to just tune in and just give you guys some updates on some events that's coming up.
We're gonna send this out. We're gonna send y'all out with these events.
So these events that's coming up, we got this event.
So we've got the it's free to the public. It's the Black Trans Lives Matter event. It's going on this Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry. I got my events mixed up. This is the online event. So this Saturday, October 17th, noon to 5 p.m. is community cookout. DJ Lane Vaughn. So, I'm sorry. This is like an old flyer. Audible. This is the Black
Albany Bazaar. I'm sorry, that last event was the Albany Bazaar. That's a cookout that's going on for the city of Albany. And then now we're going to show you guys the Black Trans Lives Matter event.
This is the event I originally was thinking.
Yeah.
And that's this Saturday. It says this September 26th, but this is this Saturday, so don't pay attention to that September 26th date. It's October 10th. It's this Saturday, Jennings Landing, Black Trans Lives Matter, all Black Lives Matter. So we're definitely going to be out there showing our support. We hope to see as many people as we can.
So this right here is a community call outs. Make sure you come out here. This is going to be on October 15th at 5:30. We're going to be meeting on the corner of Larch Street and Livingston Avenue out in Albany, New York. This is to just shout out for the code and good cause eviction. For those people that are getting evicted right now, 65 eviction warrants was placed in the city of Albany. And we want to really stand behind these people because we want to make sure that landlords are giving cause as to why they are evicting people or not just evicting people because they are filing code enforcement violations on the landlords or anything like that where landlords are using things like that as retaliatory devices. We also want to make sure that we call out code enforcement because code enforcement is not enforcing code upon these absentee absentee landlords and landlords allowing their properties to dilapidate. Dilapidate means fall apart, just to let you know.
All you gotta do is walk around the South End. I mean, we
walk around the South End, walk around Uptown, walk around Capitol Hill, like just walk around certain parts of the city. You will see it. You will see it all around.
And we saw. I mean, it's important to note, right? Like you can literally travel just a few blocks, right? And you see a difference between a neighborhood that has mostly houses, residential houses on it, as opposed to one that has apartments.
And you want to really make sure...
you see the difference between these neighborhoods.
You want to really make sure that we identify these things. So even at this event, we're also going to be giving out the Co-Violator of the Month award. Well, the week award. No, it's the month. The Co-Violator of the Month award, so that we can make sure that we highlight those co-violators. This right here is the World Development and Information and United Nations Day. This day is going to be highlighting the United Nations coming together and fighting against in World War II against Nazi Germany. It's also going to be highlighting the different strategies that are used to combat social injustice across the world. We want to really stand with all allies in this fight for global peace and against oppression. Across the world, people are being persecuted for race, sex, sexual preference, religious preference.
Like, India.
In India, they're going crazy against the Muslims because of their religious preference, and this discrimination is getting to the point where they're killing people if they eat a burger. If you eat a cow out there, they will literally murder you, and that is getting it to the point where it's getting too far. I know I was just talking about not eating meat. But they're taking it too far over people.
We're not going to kill a person because someone killed the animal for food.
Yeah, we're not. That's taking it too far.
And you know,
so
even if you're doing animal cruelty, I mean, you deserve to go to prison.
Yes, but like,
we ain't gonna kill you.
That's taking it too far, and we stand with our Muslim allies in their fight against the oppression going on in India right now. We want to make sure that we allow people to know. If you don't know about what's going on in India, make sure that you look it up. I post things on my Facebook all the time as far as sharing stories as to what's going on out there and how you can help support them.
We need to accept people and be tolerant and understand, like, I get it, because in some cultures, cow is a sacred animal.
A sacred animal. And that
however, I can't force my beliefs on everybody else.
You can't.
You know what I mean?
But their government is so embedded with their religion that they can't disperse the two. So we want to just make sure that we just keep everybody up to date on the different events. Make sure you tune into each one of those. The World Information and United Nation Days will be on October.
Hope to see you out there this Saturday.
It'll be on October 24th. It'll be from 1 to 5 at the New York State Assembly building. So we're going to leave you guys on that note. Hope to see you at each one of these events. Make sure you come out and you support the community. See you guys next week. Again, we're going to be talking about the contract that the city has, which is called the Charter. We're also going to be talking about a few other things, and we may just show you that video that we just was talking about with the police officer taking that young man's car for no reason. Sorry for my spinning around. They gave me a movie chair, and you know.
Hey, listen, with that, we're going to send y'all out. And listen, ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people
don't stop.
That's
Understand
right.
Me.
Say word.
Understand us.
Yep.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face covering.
And even with my face covered,
You will see me.
As a son,
As a man with a never quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
join me in wearing a face covering. to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.